Hello, this is Colleen Mee, and I am going to review with you the process for using the DA program assessment form, which is utilized on session 20 at the end of a module. Okay, each campus has been assigned a folder within the Google Drive. You're looking here at my Google Drive, which of course lists all of the campuses. Okay. Yours will not look quite like this. Yours will look specific to the folder that has been shared with you. So for example, if you are, say, at the Canton location, yours will simply look like this. If you have not received an invitation to be shared this information, please reach out to your campus administrator or to myself, and we will be happy to share that with you. Any dental assisting instructor or admin at the campus is eligible to have access to this, and this is so that you can input the data necessary to keep track of these senior assessments. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is open up one of these, and I guess I'll stick with Canton here. They all look the same. When you open up your folder, you will find a few things. Number one, you will find this subfolder that's labeled Clinic Checklist and Instructions. You'll also see two spreadsheets, okay? One will be labeled with the current year. This is the one that I've just created for everyone, 21 to 22, and although our fiscal year will be ending soon, we'll go ahead and start using it. This here, the one below it, you'll see it's labeled Master. This is a blank, and this will be used come, say, the 1st of July of each year, where you can basically make a copy of it and keep it within this folder for each year. Okay, so this one is not intended to be used. It's intended for you to be able to make copies down the road. Should there ever be a problem, of course, I'm happy to help with that, but it is a real simple process to make a copy. I'll show you that when we open up one of the spreadsheets. And then the last document is information on the senior comprehensive exams, which are provided to your seniors the last week or so of the module. And those are mods 1 through 6. And this talks about those scores that are collected. So let's begin with the checklist at the top and the instructions. I'm going to open this up. And you're going to find there's 2 PDF files. These you can download to your computer. You can print them off and keep them in your desk or folder, or you can just, look at them as you need to here. But let's just review quickly. So the instruction sheet, this. Basically, it's giving you a quick synopsis of the how-to. I am going to discuss this with you verbally, so I'm not going to read this to you, but it is here with just the basic information. Okay, so if you have new faculty that joins your team, you could show that to them. The second piece is the actual checklist, and this is designed for you to be able to print off a paper copy when you're running your day in the office for your student. Each student would have their own document assigned to their name. And then based on what skills you were able to set up and provide for them during that session, you would then indicate on the form just quickly a P, an A, or an L. You could just circle it with your pen. P for proficient, A for acceptable, L for limited. And this is basically like a tally sheet. So if you've got 2 or 3 students, or maybe you've got a large class of 5 or 6 seniors that are going out and you're like, oh, who did what? Basically, you'll be able to collect your data that you will then use these sheets to transfer over to your spreadsheet. Now, we don't save these. They're not required. Let's say you've only got 1 senior going out and you don't feel like you need to, you're going to remember what they did on the various skills, then, you can keep it going in your head or just write it on a sheet of notebook paper. It's up to you. But this is designed for if you've got, to stay organized, and especially if you've got more than 1 student, to kind of keep track of how you've done on a given skill. Let me point out that limited is the area where the students really need a lot of assistance. They seem to be quite confused or forgetful. They need a lot of guidance. So any of the skills that a student are are participating in that are end up being an L for limited, they're going to require further remediation with you. And so what you want to do is discuss with the student, discuss with your campus administrator, when can a time be set aside for them to come back to class to go over those particular skills in detail to make sure that they're ready and feel comfortable. They're going to be going out into externship. It doesn't mean that they can't come back to campus during externship for some extra help. Or if there's a lot of concerns, it may mean postponing externship. So that's a director call, certainly not your decision, but just keep in mind that anything that we've indicated as an L is going to require some attention. Okay, so this is that form. All right, I'm going to go back to the main menu here. Jump down here to the senior comprehensive exams document. And this just runs through the basic 411 on the senior exams. Again, we're going to talk about it. Basically, the students take all 6 tests during the last week or 2 of the module. It's not something that they do at home. They do it in the classroom during some downtime, lab time. The scoring is just for informational purposes. We do not use the grade on the Canvas grade sheet for any of the courses that they're enrolled in. It's simply an assessment tool. We do expect that once the student has completed these tests, that you'll take a moment to review those with them, let them see their scores so that they're privy to that information. And then, you can discuss areas of weakness that they might want to bone up on while they're, during externship. This will help them to be better prepared for taking any credentialing exams that they may be planning on. If they can say, hey, I'm really, strong in infection control, but I was really kind of weak in the radiography, then they know that might just be an indicator of where they need to spend more time studying. So with that being said, this just discusses that. Again, the scores from these tests are then transferred to the spreadsheet that we're going to look at. Now, I don't have a tally sheet for this. My thought process is, first of all, these are paper tests that you print for your students, and you'll be grading those and going over the scores with them. So really the test becomes your tally sheet. Once you've collected those 6 documents, you'll be able to just, log into the Google Drive and indicate their scores, okay? Okay, so again, the master and then the one designed for the particular fiscal year that we're in, they're identical at this point. None of them have been filled out. We'll go ahead and open this up here. And the first thing you're going to see is the introduction page. Again, kind of like the instruction page that we just looked at, but it gives you a quick rundown of what you need to do, okay? There's 3 tabs at the bottom. The first one is the directions, which is what we're looking at. The second tab is the actual assessment spreadsheet. And the third tab is an index. And I'm going to jump to the index for just a quick moment before we look at the actual assessment. The index is handy. It's just a list of all the skills that the students have that they are required to perform proficiently during the course of their time with us at Ross. So you can see module 1, there's hand washing, oral hygiene instructions. We go to mod 2, and so on and so forth. So this right here is just a list for you to use as a reference tool. Some people find it to have it handy as they're filling out the form, so that's why it's there. All right, we're going to go to the actual assessment spreadsheet now, which is this middle tab. And what you're going to see over to the far left corner is the word year and a blank. Here's where you would type in your year. Look at that, okay? And that will indicate this particular spreadsheet is designated to that year. So you'll want to do that the first time you open a brand new spreadsheet for the year. I will let them do this for themselves because I'm in Canton's folder, which they will want to do that, but we'll leave that just like that. Now down here, you'll see the assessment date. We do have an example set up for Rosie Ross. This is just to help keep you on track when you go into the folder. So you'll put the date in, you'll put the student's name in, who's a senior, And the first thing you're going to see here is definitely new to our former format, and that's regarding their resume. What we are finding is that Career Services wants to make sure that they have an accurate, up-to-date resume for the externs, so that as they are helping them with job placement, they've got, you know, a good resume on file. So as you're going through this with your students, one of the questions you'll ask them is simply, have you looked at your resume lately? Are there any changes that need to be made? I mean, gosh, if they made their resume in Mod 5 and that was 2 or 3 months ago, they may have moved, they might have a new telephone number, they might have a better contact, you know, as far as a reference goes. You know, there may be new jobs. So things could certainly change over the course of a really short period of time for someone. So we'd like to make sure that that's completely accurate. We want that updated version to be uploaded to Ross Edge. So please ask them to, you know, take a peek at it. They can, you know, access it from wherever they've saved it, which was either on the Google Drive, their own Google Drive, or they should have a copy already saved on Ross Edge from Mod 5. So have them open it up quickly, take a peek at it, see if it needs any tweaking. And then also ask them to email you a copy. All right. Not that you'll probably have to do anything with it, but just store it in a folder on your computer, or so in the event the campus does need that information to assist a student with a potential job interview or so forth, we've got quick access to it. Okay. So once you've verified that the student has done so, it'll take them all of just a few minutes to look at it and make any adjustments as needed. Then just indicate that box with an X. Okay. Then the next section has to do with the actual skills, all right? And they're divided by module, so module 1, module 2, module 3, and all the way through, okay? So whatever particular skill you are going to assign your students, and we know it's all based on time availability, and obviously we want to pick the skills that we think the students are most needing to rehearse. For example, if they've just finished up a mod that included, let's say, for example, taking an alternate impression, which is in Mod 4, then that particular skill wouldn't be necessarily as pressing as something that maybe they haven't done in a longer time frame, since they just finished taking impressions from the mod that they were in, something like that. So you want to kind of take a look at that and use your discretion to tailor the day on the office to the skills that you feel the students are most needy of. And certainly take your students' advice. You know, ask your students, which areas do you feel like you need some better, you know, you need another dress rehearsal for. So there won't be enough time to complete every single skill on this spreadsheet. You're going to pick and choose those, again, that are most appropriate for your students. But let's look at Rosie Ross here. In this example, she did do her hand washing, both soap and water and hand sanitizer. And so there's a P here. And if you look at the arrow and you click on this, it will give you a drop-down menu of 3 choices. P for proficient, A for acceptable, and L for limited. And you just choose which one of these and it'll automatically populate it into that box, okay? Same thing here, prepare a patient chart. There, she did this adequately. Let's say she rehearsed the nerves with you, but shit was acceptable, but not perfect. I'll just do one from there. See how it selects it for you. Okay. Take it back out. We'll leave the sample as is, but you'll just use that little arrow and then just click on whatever item it is that it needs to be. Okay. And so as you scroll through, you'll see there's all of these to do, and there's plenty of them. And your example, there's a few in each kind of around the board here. So, okay. I'm going to slide all the way down to the very back side or far side of this, and you'll see where the module exams are. So this is where you'll indicate your comprehensive senior exam amounts. Again, Mod 1, Mod 2, Mod 3, Mod 4, and so forth, the score, and you'll just type in for, you know, like Rosie Ross, let's say she got an 89, you just type it in, okay? And whoever your next student was got a 77, you type it in and so forth, okay? So you just type in the number. Get those back out. The kind of fun thing that we can do with this, and your campus administrator will be utilizing this, but when we want to get statistics on how a student or student body is doing on a particular skill, we can utilize this form by going up to the very top where all of these commands are and select data and column stats. And what this will do is this will give you a statistical information on the scores. And now we only have just Rosie in here. Okay, so we've only got Rosie with one line, but this was, I guess, whatever column you click on is what it will give you the percentage for. So like right here, this was prosthodontic tray, crown bridge, and she got an A for acceptable. You'll see down here prostho A, and then there's only one. So it's giving you a bar graph and information about that. If I go to, say, this was the amalgam procedure, and you'll see it shows the bar graph here. I guess I'm still clicked on module 3 there. So, so this is kind of handy, and you can play with this little chart to get the information that you need. When you actually get started using your spreadsheet, you'll want to delete Rosie Ross off here. I mean, just simply go in and click and just delete her information, because when you decide to gather data and get your values like we have over here, it will calculate Rosie into the equation. So Rosie got a P for passing. Her P for passing is going to get calculated in with all the other students who did hand washing and got a P for passing as well. So just quickly go through and delete that. I mean, there's just a few of them across there to give you a kind of an example of what to look for. But in your preparation phase, just delete her off once you've had a chance to play with it and kind of get comfortable with how this assessment sheet works. Really, that's all there is to it. There's gosh, look how many lines there are. There's over 100. So you shouldn't run out of spaces for students. You know, I can't imagine why you would ever have more than over 100 in a year's time frame. But if you do, simply just copy the form. And this is, I'll show you how to copy. And again, I told you I would earlier in terms of when it comes time for the new fiscal year and you have to make a copy. Super easy. Just go to File and make a copy right here. Click on Make a Copy, and it'll take a moment, and bingo, you'll have another copy of it inside your folder, and then you're good to go for the next year. So literally just go to File and make a copy. All right. The other things here that you have access to, of course, rename it. So you rename your copy with the new fiscal year. So like when you go come July, you'll rename it with the current new fiscal year. So that's where you'll go to rename it. You make a boo-boo, send it to the trash, start over again. Here's where you can share it with whoever you need to share it with. And you can download it if you want, okay? And download it as a spreadsheet through Excel and so forth. So I think that's really all of the basics here. Certainly there are other things up here that you can look at and play with. There is a help tab, so if you run into questions, help is always available through Google, which is nice. But when you're done, you just click out of your tab. Yes, I know, I'm not going to change anything. And now you're back into your folder, okay? The other place that you can share is just right up here. Like this will share the whole folder, which is probably the better place to share. So if you have a new faculty member on your team, just click this little face with the plus symbol on it, and you'll add in their email address, click done, and it will share the folder with those individuals. And if we need to delete somebody from that folder, you can do that as well from that same option. So that concludes my demonstration on the DA assessment program spreadsheet. The information will also be provided, basic information will be provided within your lesson plans, as well as there will be written information provided and available within the curriculum Canvas shell so that, again, if you have new faculty members or you need to refer back to it, that will be there for you as well. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. I'm happy to help. Thanks.